Okay everybody, Tektalar here again with the 6th episode of the Heroes Appendix video series. Its purpose is to help newer and veteran players alike to fully understand the ins and outs of all the characters in Hero Wars Mobile. In today's video, we are reviewing the first place winner of the most recent vote amongst my patrons, and probably the most used non-meta damage dealer, Orion. He is the only hero in the game who, when uninterrupted, will have a 100% uptime on his ultimate, and thus artifact weapon buff as well for magic penetration. He's very easy to lock down and kill, but due to his damage output potential and extreme flexibility with teammates, he is almost assured to be in everyone's top 25 heroes. In today's video, we are going to be discussing his skills, how they visually appear, and their uses both practically and strategically, when to use Orion, when not to use him, his roles in the team, artifact priority order, skin priority order, and glyph stat priority order. Orion's first skill is called Total Destruction, which is commonly referred to as his ultimate because this is the ability he can use once his yellow energy gauge is filled during battle. Orion will grow bulkier in size, and his gem and his head stripe will change color depending on which skin you have equipped, and he'll fire off 6 missiles which will target the 3 highest health in raw number, not percent, enemy units, hitting them with 2 missiles each. As the number of opponents dwindles, you will hit each target with more missiles. So if there are 2 targets alive, they will each be hit with 3 missiles, and if there's only 1 target alive, they will be hit with all 6 missiles. This is why Orion is especially effective against campaign bosses, because there's only 1 of them. The damage ratio for this skill is reasonably high at 45% magic attack, considering this is the value per missile. Some things to consider are his ability to keep magic penetration up for nearly the entire fight, granting himself and allies much needed magic penetration, so always consider that when choosing him. His first ultimate will always be buffed by Nebula if she's in the lineup with him, unless he takes too much damage, forcing him to ult earlier. Next up is Orion's second skill, Magnetic Field. Orion will create an explosion at the enemy back line which appears as a grid underneath them, dealing minor damage and slowing them for 4 seconds. This skill has a 20% magic attack ratio, which is very low, and is used so infrequently the main benefit from this skill is in the slow. Unfortunately, the developers have not been willing to disclose the exact amount of the slow, so I can't give a specific value to it. But even if it's only 50% slow, imagine if Martha's ultimate grants 240% speed to her allies, now it's only actually granting them 120% during the effect of Orion's skill. So the benefits can be very dramatic depending on who is affected by it. Let's see if we get access to that information in future patches. Orion's third skill is Antimatter Blast, which deals damage at a 65% magic attack ratio to the nearest enemy and stunning them for 4 seconds. This skill is represented by a black ball with a yellow aura slowly flying from Orion to the nearest opponent, and when it collides with them, they have a black and yellow galaxy-looking graphic above the stunned unit's head for the duration. Full Charge is Orion's passive skill, which grants him an additional 500 bonus energy with each attack. The normal energy growth for a basic attack only grants 100, and it takes a total of 1000 energy before your hero can utilize their ultimate skill. So this means with every basic attack, Orion generates 600 energy, so every 2 attacks he will use his ultimate skill. The energy gains are visually represented by blue and yellow percent numbers listed every time he attacks. The big thing to keep in mind with this is that while his ultimate has a moderately low magic attack ratio, the fact that he will be using his missiles so frequently means the damage will rack up very quickly. This also means, if uninterrupted by stuns, silence, energy growth blocking, energy drains, Orion's artifact weapon buff, which we will discuss shortly, will have a 100% uptime, meaning it will always be active once it's used. Let's take a deeper look now and see when you should be using Orion. First up is as your main damage dealer, plain and simple. Second, as part of a glass cannon team build, partnered with either Arachne or Kira, standing adjacent to Nebula. The third time to consider using him is with Dorian and Helios. You see a lot of people using this combination, and with good reason. It's a very strong team. It's not quite meta, but it is borderline. You should also consider using Orion with multiple different heroes who deal a lot of magic damage, but don't have enough magic penetration on their own to be a real threat. Since Orion's artifact weapon provides magic penetration, he can give a new life to some heroes who would otherwise be mediocre or subpar. Examples for these heroes, but are not limited to, include Phobos, Aurora, Krista, Leon, Jorian, and Mojo. And then the last time you should consider using him is in most teams. Orion is an amazing supplemental damage dealer. He's listed under the steady pressure tier for damage dealers, which basically means almost no matter what team you put him in, he will deal steady pressure to the enemy team if he goes uninterrupted. And this can actually help you out a lot because it's very hard to set up a healing line that's going to be able to heal through another damage dealer on top of Orion raining missiles on everybody, because a lot of heals don't have the ability to spread to multiple units that quickly. Now we'll take a look at when you should be avoiding Orion in your team. The first up, and this should probably be at the top of everyone's list, is if the enemy has Satori. Satori's specialty is obliterating enemies who gain bonus energy, which that's all Orion's force skill does. So basically every time he auto attacks, he's setting himself up more and more to just be one shot by Satori, which, I mean, pretty much after just one or two auto attacks, that's enough, and he's pretty much guaranteed to die. Next up is if you don't have sufficient protection for him. Because his damage is steady and oppressive, and it frequently changes targets depending on health levels of the opponents, they will reach their ultimates very quickly, and against some heroes, he could find himself being the victim of massive damage without proper mitigation. For example, needing Anvari to protect against Kark, Dorian and Helios to protect against Kira, etc. Next time to consider avoiding him is if Orion is your main damage dealer and your opponent is using Rufus anywhere in their team, since he is unable to be killed by magic damage. This next time to consider avoiding is a little bit obscure, so you have to kind of pay close attention. If the enemy has 3 or more strength-based heroes, particularly those who have rapid self-heals, so basically units that have over 400,000 max health, or heroes like Martha who have over 300,000 with a massive self-healing ability, because this means Orion's missiles will primarily target them and largely ignore the damage-dealing threats on the opposing team. And the last time to consider avoiding Orion is if the enemy has a Jorgen on it. Since he has such high health, he's basically a magnet for Orion's missiles, and his ultimate will cancel Orion's ability to cast for 9 seconds. So depending on how necessary it is for your survival or win condition, you may want to consider a different option. Now we'll just briefly discuss his roles in the team, as they were just mentioned in the previous section. Orion's main role is damage dealer, but you can partner him with heroes like Aurora to counter Peppy and Cleaver, Dorian and Helios to counter Kira, Jet, Sebastian teams, etc., because he offers support to make his magical allies shine while still shelling out consistent damage. Next we'll discuss artifact priority, which means which artifact is the most important to level up first. The first in priority is his artifact weapon, the DD-901 Arsenal. Since Orion's commonly partnered with Nebula, and her buff on him just so happens to land when he's using his ultimate, which is every other attack, he doesn't need the magic attack boost as much as he does the magic penetration boost for him, as well as his allies. This is undeniably his most important artifact, although you can reasonably cut it at 5-star before moving to his others and saving this 6-star for the last. Second up is the artifact book, which will grant him magic attack as well as additional magic penetration. This will ensure he's also dealing the most damage possible, even to the enemy tanks, so nobody ends up walling you out. And then last, but certainly not least, is his ring, which will grant him about 11,970 magic attack, 3,990 physical attack, and 3,990 magic defense. In this segment, we'll be discussing his skins, which are easy to obtain as both are available to purchase using a skin certificate in the shop. The top priority skin is his mechanical skin, which offers 10,650 magic attack, which yields the largest boost to his damage of the three skins. The second in priority is his default skin, which offers 4,095 magic attack, 1,365 magic defense, and 1,365 physical attack. And the third in priority is his cybernetic skin, which offers him 10,650 magic defense. This one is probably the lowest priority skins for your entire team, but it is certainly worth maxing eventually. In our final segment, we will now be discussing glyph stat priority. So what this means is of all the stats your hero can get, which ones are the most important for you to upgrade first to yield the best results. The first up is magic penetration, which gives 3,360 magic penetration. Since the glyph is necessary to allow a 5-star artifact book and weapon for Orion to fully pierce all units' magic defense, this is where you should start. The second glyph up is health. Gives 30,800 health, and since he's got a very low health as it is, and pretty much all of the health he gets comes from equipment, sparks of power, and this glyph, it's important to do this early. The third glyph to choose is his magic attack, which gives 3,360 magic attack. This helps him offensively as well as with survivability due to vampirism when he's near Dorian. The fourth glyph to choose is his intelligence. He gains 560 magic defense, 560 physical attack, 1,680 magic attack, as well as critical hit resistance, which is what makes this lower in priority as he's often utilized in countering critical hit teams, and you want them to critically hit you so Helios can kill them. The fifth and final glyph to choose is his magic defense, which adds 3,360 magic defense. There's not much to say beyond that. It will help him reach his massive peak magic defense, which makes magic attacks against him all but futile. However, he's not a defensive character. It's best to save this for last. Okay everybody, hopefully you found this video informative. If you do, please like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Another thing to consider is recommending my content to your friends as well if you know they yearn for knowledge of the game. Since these videos are private, word of mouth is how they will get spread. Also, for a large and active Hero Wars mobile community, join my Facebook group called Hero Wars Mobile Community, The GOAT. The link will be in the video description. Thanks for watching.